Welcome to Leading from Eden, where we explore what it truly means to lead with divine knowledge, wisdom, and purpose. In this segment, we focus on executive leadership and influence rooted in divine faith, truth, and light. Join us as we uncover the fundamental principles that empower leaders to shepherd their flock with clarity and purpose. This is Leadership Redefined. This is Leading from Eden. Welcome to Eden.
Today we delve into the origin of strategy as we explore the profound connection between spirituality, strategy, and leadership. We often look to modern business strategies for guidance, but what if some of the most profound insights have been embedded in Scripture all along? In this episode, we uncover the 11 fundamental steps in formulating strategy and how these principles apply not only to building sustainable enterprises, but to every aspect of our lives. To lead from a place of divine strategy is to align ourselves with the very essence of creation. Now let's look at the origin of strategy. Strategy is often associated with the formation of things, creating enterprises, building businesses, or setting up new ventures. But to truly understand strategy, we must return to the original information, the divine process of creation itself. In Genesis, we witness the first demonstration of strategic leadership, God Himself. Before creating man, He laid out the environment, prepared resources, and ensured that everything was in place. The first chapter of Genesis reveals the history of creation, and from it, we extract the divine blueprint of strategy. So let's break down leadership through the lens of creation, drawing wisdom from Genesis 1. Step 1. Assessment. Genesis 1 verses 1 to 2 read, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters." Before creating, God first observed what already existed. The earth was formless and void. This teaches us that the first step in strategy is assessment, analyzing the territory. Before we build anything, be it a business, career, or relationship, we must first evaluate what already exists. Just as we do in business, where we assess the market, potential, gaps, and opportunities, we must apply the same principle to all areas of life. If you desire wealth or success, you must first study its nature, how it's created, sustained, and how it is grown. If you desire love, you must first understand the person before you, their values and beliefs, interests, strengths, weaknesses, and how they succeed. Every act of creation begins with a deep understanding of its landscape. And this is important because of what follows in verse 3. Step 2. Vision. Genesis 1 verse 3 reads, "Then God said, 'Let there be light.' And there was light." Light is more than just the absence of darkness. It is also a symbol of vision, the end goal, the desired outcome. We often say there's light at the end of the tunnel to show hope that even in the midst of challenges, we will reach our destination. Light represents the vision that guides our path. So step 2 in strategy calls us to develop a vision for whatever we choose to undertake. Every strategy must be driven by vision. A business without vision becomes stagnant. A relationship without vision drifts into dysfunction. The absence of vision inevitably leads to idleness and fruitlessness. Vision illuminates the path forward. Let there be light. Let there be vision. Step 3. Capacity. We see step 3 in Genesis 1 verse 4, which reads, "And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness." The Hebrew word translated as good is the word tov, which means functional. So in the ancient Hebrew understanding, verse 4 would read, "And God saw the light, that it was functional," which means it served its purpose. This teaches us that whatever we create must work according to its design and serve its purpose. Anything that does not fulfill its function deteriorates. Understanding functionality is key for us to determine whether we have the required capacity to take on a business, a project, or relationship. So in step 3, you must assess your capacity to create whatever you desire. Capacity is the wholeness and completeness that you need to fulfill the vision. It includes the knowledge, skills, and ability to execute. Before you pursue any venture, whether it's a business or relationship, ask yourself, do I have the capacity to sustain this? What will it take for me to be successful? Do I possess the necessary knowledge, skills, and understanding to achieve it? Capacity gives you the confidence to move forward with conviction and to be fully equipped or prepared to handle challenges in your journey. Step 4. Roles and responsibilities. Genesis 1 verse 5 reads, "God calls the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day." Here, God names and assigns roles: light for the day, darkness for the night. Step 4 in strategy teaches us to define roles and responsibilities. A sustainable enterprise requires set roles in daily operations, and the same applies to relationships and family structures. Roles indicate purpose, and every role has a distinct purpose, and all the roles work together to serve the vision, such as the light is meant to show day and the darkness to show night. The light and dark can only form the wholeness of a day when working in unison, with each focused on their specific roles. One cannot exist without the other. In relationships, the roles are designed to work as a unit in agreement, with each role serving their intended purpose according to their design in order to serve the vision in harmony. This coordination of roles ultimately results in balance in the creation process. So the question to ask yourself is, do you understand your role? And can you be functional in that specific role? This helps to bring about order in creation, which leads us to step 5, order and structure. Genesis 1 verses 7 to 10 reveal how God establishes order in creation. Sustainable structures require order. Chaos is the enemy of longevity. Organizations, governments, and families function best when they operate within a structured system, which means step 5 is developing a structure and order. The roles we set in step 4 are to be exercised in a pre-designed structure to ensure that the vision is being executed in an orderly manner. Without order, growth is impossible. Step 6, sustainability. On the third day, God said in Genesis 1 verse 11, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth." A seed signifies sustainability. Inside every seed lies the potential for longevity and multiplication. What you create must be built to last. Businesses must have structures that ensure viability and continuity, and families must be rooted in values that transcend generations. In step 6, we must implement systems for sustainability. True success is not what you build, but what continues after you. Step 7, systems and processes. Genesis 1 verses 14 to 19 show how God created processes to regulate the land. He created luminaries to serve his vision for the land, day and night, seasons and cycles. In the same way, step 7 in strategy calls us to establish processes that ensure seamless execution of our vision. In creating businesses or families, we must set processes that guarantee that there is an intentional flow in the course of our venture. We must be deliberate in what we create, but also in how we create. Step 8, growth and multiplication. In Genesis 1 verses 20 to 24, God creates living creatures upon the earth according to its kind, and he tasks them to reproduce and increase in the land. Genesis 1 verse 22 reads, "And God blessed them, saying, Be fruitful and multiply." The Hebrew word for bless that is used in this verse means to exalt. To exalt means to lift up, to raise, or to glorify. When something is blessed, it flourishes and multiplies. So in verse 22, God exalts the living creatures by tasking them to be fruitful and to multiply. Growth is a sign of divine favor. Every business, relationship, and endeavor should have the capacity for growth. Anything that remains stagnant will eventually decay. We see the same instruction given to man in Genesis 1 verse 28. God grants us the mission to be fruitful and multiply, to lift us up and to raise our value. Productivity, expansion, and value creation elevate and honor us. So in being fruitful in our endeavors, we mirror God's image as shown in verse 27. So in step 8 of strategy, whatever we create must not only have life within itself, but it must be fruitful and multiply so that it increases in value. Businesses increase in value and ranking through productivity and expansion. Through value creation, they become prestigious, illustrious, and powerful. And so do relationships. They must be fruitful and grow in order to be more valuable, honorable, and influential. So to enrich your relationships or business, you must ask, why does this business or relationship exist? What is it meant to produce? What unique talents or gifts does each role bring that contribute to the success of its vision? How can it function more effectively? This is because fruitfulness is a throne of honor that God adorns upon us. Step 9. Building the right connections and networks. In Genesis 1 verse 28, God said, "Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth." Two key ideas appear in this verse. The first one is this: let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. In the creation of man, the Bible expresses God as a unit, a being that exists in perfect unity within itself. The use of the words us and our signify the wholeness of God rather than a singular expression. As a reflection of this divine unity, man is also designed to function as a unit. He is designed to find wholeness through connection. This means that as human beings, we are inherently social creatures who need relationships, community, and collaboration as a way of life to achieve completeness. Therefore, step 9 in strategy is about identifying the right connections and networks that will empower us to thrive in our mission and fulfill our vision. Whether in business or relationships, you must build a strong support system and network of individuals and alliances which will serve as the foundation to drive your mission forward. The second idea in verse 26 is the concept of dominion, to rule over something. This same idea is also expressed in verse 28, where God commands men to fill the earth and subdue it. This tells us that in everything we create, we are called to have dominion, to establish authority, presence, and impact across the land. The goal of any venture, whether a business, relationship, or initiative, should be to manifest the kingdom of God in every sphere we enter. So step 10 in strategy is to ensure that we not only expand into other spaces or avenues, but we must also have authority, impact, and influence in our chosen industries. You must know that within you lies the seed to sustain all that was given and entrusted to you. So we must develop a plan for dominance in our pursuits. Finally, Genesis 1 verse 31 reads, "Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good." This leads us to step 11 in strategy, the review process, monitoring and tracking progress. God evaluated his work and confirmed that it was functional and complete. Similarly, in any strategic endeavor, it is essential to continuously review progress to ensure that all components of the plan are aligned with the vision and serving their purpose according to their design. Monitoring, tracking, and establishing checkpoints safeguards the integrity of the mission. This ensures that the right people are in the right roles, operating within a structure that supports both alignment and effectiveness. It is necessary to note that you cannot create anything without strategy. You cannot form an enterprise, set up a project, build a family, or nurture a relationship without a strategy. And this strategy comes from the source, God. And herein lies the fundamental truth. You cannot lead, form, or create anything sustainable, anything that stands through generations without God. Whether you are leading a business that delivers transformational value to nations, building an enterprise that creates lasting change and impact, or nurturing a family that is fruitful and a relationship that thrives, God must be the foundation. Leading from Eden is about aligning ourselves with God's divine blueprint of creation, a strategy that guarantees success, longevity, and purpose-filled impact. Leading from Eden means leading with divine wisdom and making sure that our strategies are rooted in timeless truths that nurture growth, sustainability, and alignment with our true purpose. As we reflect on this divine blueprint, may we step into leadership with clarity, intention, and unwavering faith, knowing that through God's guidance, our efforts will bear fruit that lasts across time, transforming lives and shaping futures. Let there be light. Let there be vision. Let there be strategy. Welcome to Eden.
Thank you for listening to our presentation of Leading from Eden. We invite you to share your thoughts and insights through messages and voice notes. Don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring content that nurtures your spirit and guides your path to kingdom-driven leadership. Thank you for being a part of our Eden community. Until we meet again, have a divine and inspired journey. And as always, welcome to Eden.